Welcome to MetalVice in 666. I'm your host, Brian, joined with your other host,
Karen.
And for this episode, we are going to go over the Record Store Day 2025 list that came out somewhat recently.
Spring 2025 list.
I just go through the list. I love going through the list and seeing like what jumps out at me. And we've done this before, so we're going to do it again. The new list is out for, as you said, the spring 2025, and we're just going to go through it and talk about the ones that sort of jumped out to us.
And when is Record Store Day?
It's April 12th this year.
April 12th,
I believe. The Saturday of C2E2. So I'm not going to be able to go to this. So whatever we get, you can go to it and pick up.
I will go see what we can find.
And we'll see, because there's a lot that jumped out. Not all of this will be on our final list, but this is sort of the starting place from the main list down to the sub list, and we'll start to whittle things out as well. But yeah, here's what jumped out to us. So I guess let's just jump in and check it out. The first one up is Dead Sarah. This is Emily Armstrong's original band, or band before Linkin Park.
Yay.
This is probably not making it to our final list. It just sort of jumped out to me like, oh, this is on here. I wonder if it's the whole Linkin Park thing. Maybe that's what helped get this on the list or something.
Like hearing her voice in Linkin Park.
Yeah, and it's a band we haven't checked out. We said we were going to check out, and I haven't checked it out yet.
Nope.
Still a band I need to check out because of the whole Linkin Park thing. But yeah, thought that was kind of cool that it's on there at least. Next is Gorillaz, Demon Days Live at the Apollo Theater. I believe this is the New York Apollo Theater, because I think we also have an Apollo Theater in Chicago.
It's not open.
Oh, it's not open anymore? Okay.
No.
It used to be on the train. I'd always pass it.
No, yeah, like the sign's still there, but
okay.
It's not functioning, I don't think.
But I think when most people say the Apollo Theater, they mean the New York one. But that's on the list, or sort of jumped out for me. I did get D-Sides at Record Store Day a few years ago, and I love that album. You not a big fan of it. But this was on the list because it could be fun. Next is Grateful Dead.
For you.
For me, on a back porch. Is that what that says? On the back porch?
On a back porch.
Yeah, on a back porch, volume 1. This is a collab, it looks like, with Grateful Dead and Dogfish Head.
Oh,
they had one
that
of
makes
these,
sense. Yeah.
They had one of these a few years ago. It was my first Dead album I got. It was a Record Store Day album as well, I believe, that I picked up, and I loved it. It's such a great album. I listen to it every now and then. So this is on the list too, just to sort of continue my collection of that sort of Dead and Dogfish Head kind of collaboration albums that they have. And because I did enjoy the other one, they also have a live box set. They always have a live box set.
I feel like Grateful Dead's one of those bands that's always on the list on something.
Yeah. And I got one of the live box sets a few years ago when there wasn't much that we picked up. So I was like, I'll pick this up for, 100, 150, whatever it was. I listened to it. It's fine. I like it. All the live shit that they have for Record Store Day is typically in the 70s, which is sort of like the peak Dead era if you talk to some people. This is in New York, the one that's part of this Record Store Day. I think the one I have is from New York and Buffalo. I think a lot of them are from New York. If they ever do like a Chicago-based one, I think I'd pick that one up to have. Yeah. But I have one I'm going to skip over the other ones until a Chicago one pops up probably. Next, we have Him, Join Me. I really like Him. I'm excited for this. So this is on my list for sure.
Yeah, I've never gotten into Him, but if they have it and it's still on our list when we get to the final dwindle down.
Yeah, and it is a picture disc too, so I'm not a big fan of picture discs, but this one looks like it comes with like a proper sleeve, because normally they don't come with sleeves. It's just sort of like loose, or it's like that plastic flimsy thing so you can see the picture. I really want them to have sleeves, so that's one of the reasons I've sort of avoided picture discs. Some people tell you the sound quality is not the greatest as well. For me, I can't. No, I don't pick that up.
I can't tell a difference.
So whatever. All right, up next we have Jet. This is, I think, their first album. A lot of their big tracks everybody knows is on the radio are from this album. I really like the radio music from them and whatnot, so this is one I would pick up, and I think this would be a lot of fun. Next one, this one probably might not make it to the final list, but Joywave.
Who is Joywave? I've not heard of them.
I don't necessarily know. There's one song I hear all the time. How's it start? It's like, will the soundtrack kindly make a noise? And it's like, Mrr. It's like, oh, that's not what I expected. And it's like, Mrr. And then it goes into like this whole like rhythm that it's doing, and like a beat that builds. I really like that song. So for that one song, I might pick it up, but at the same time, like, it's one song I like. I can probably pick up a version of this later down the road or something.
Like, what's the genre of Joywave? Pop?
Indie, EDM-ish, I guess. It's kind of a weird mix and whatnot.
Okay.
I definitely get EDM vibes from them, but also kind of indie vibes as well. So
makes sense why I haven't heard of them.
Yeah, like I said, I like that one track a lot. So it's one that like, oh shit, I saw the cover. I know that song. I know it's from this album. That'd be cool to, pick up. But again, I can pick up probably a non-special edition of this and be fine.
Yeah. Or buy it afterwards because it might not be as expensive.
I bet this would be flipped pretty.
Oh, you think so?
It's a 10th anniversary edition. I think they're probably somewhat popular. So I don't know.
Okay.
But I'd get, like I said, just a generic version and not the special one. No. Next, we have Judas Priest live in Atlanta, 1982.
1982.
I don't think we have any Judas Priest albums, so this would be a good addition.
Seriously?
I don't think so, yeah. So this could be a good, like, we talk about I'm not a big Judas Priest fan, honestly. I do like them, but it's not like, oh my God, I love them.
It's like the same, like, 4 or 5 songs.
Yeah, exactly.
That we listen to, if we do listen to Judas Priest.
Which you're going to get on the live album, so.
Yeah. I'm still stunned that we don't have a Judas Priest album, but you have our list of albums. So.
Yeah, so, I mean, this would be a good sort of starting place for sure.
Yeah. Add it to the list.
Next, this is probably my number one pick I want to try to get. Mark Morton, his next solo album, Without the Pain. We've seen him play twice on the boat now. I love his sets on the boat. I listened to his first album after learning about his solo stuff. Not the biggest fan of the first album because it is more metally and rocky and whatnot. But his newer stuff that's coming out and his other stuff after that is more bluesy and sort of southern rock and that sort of style that he played on the boat.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited for that, and I hope like the first singles come out for this and it sounds a lot like that. So I'm super excited for this album.
Yeah, this is number 1 on my list so far.
Next we have Motorhead, The Lost Tapes, Volume 6. It seems like a Lost Volumes Motorhead album comes out every record store day. This won't make the final cut by any means. I'm not a big fan of these Lost sort of retake sort of albums, but this just jumped out again. Like Volume 6, they've been doing this so fucking much. Not one I'm super interested in.
I mean, it just makes it known how much material is like recorded and doesn't actually make an album. So
right, exactly. So these like the demos and sort of like, all right, now let's tweak that song just a little bit. We got one for like The Doors, and it's like one song over like 2 discs, and it's just that one song over and over, and it is kind of fun to see the evolution of it. But I don't care that much.
Yeah, but if you're a huge Motorhead fan, then this is like really awesome because it's like, oh my gosh, these are like the tracks that we never heard before and stuff like that.
The versions of it. I guess that's true. Yeah. That is true.
But for us, I can see that we're like, it's Motorhead, it's fine.
Yeah,
it's not like deep on our list or whatever. So.
Yeah, but in any case, this probably isn't making it. It does say live in Berlin, 1982. I wonder if this is like an actual live. I might actually look into this a little bit more
to see if we need to add it. If we need to.
Yeah, I need to look into this more. I always looked at the Lost Tapes and just assumed it was like in the studio.
Yeah.
But this is looking like an actual live album. And okay, never mind. I might have to take a better look at this. Maybe I've been completely wrong on this.
On the Motorhead ones?
The Lost Tapes. Maybe they're just all live recordings of like this show, which that's actually really fucking sick. All right, I'm going to have to look into this a little bit more.
I just realized with this one, generally they say like how many albums there are to be sold, and this one doesn't have it.
It does not. You are correct.
So, I wonder if it'll be
more widely released.
Yeah. Because we didn't really say, but like the record store that we go to is Reckless, downtown Chicago, in the Loop. And they don't always have everything.
No, it's one of their smaller stores for sure. And I think they're moving to a new location in the Loop.
So I saw that on Facebook. So,
okay.
But it's from like our neighborhood group. So I think somebody would be in the know on it. But yeah, I haven't seen anything when I'm downtown about it. So
okay,
when it warms up, I will walk around and see if there's anything.
Yeah, and we like going to this one. It's closer to us. It's not as busy as the other 2 locations, the Lakeview and out west. I don't know what neighborhood that is. Logan Square. Okay, so it's not as busy. Spring is always busier than the fall, the Black Friday one.
But normally it's not very metal heavy. It's more.
Whoever the main person is, which I think this year is Post Malone is like the ambassador. Oh, okay. So they always have a few albums of their own up there. So like a few years ago it was Taylor Swift. Yeah. Back in like the early, when this started out, close to when I think it started out, Metallica was the ambassador.
Oh, wow.
So they had a bunch of shit up there, which would have been really cool to get back then.
Yeah. Anyways,
moving on to the list. Next is Motley Crue, Smoking in the Boys Room. It's a picture disc. not a big Motley Crue fan. This is gonna get passed by me.
Yeah.
Next, speaking of the ambassador, we have Post Malone. Post Malone tributes to Nirvana. So this is him playing a bunch of Nirvana shit.
Yeah. This would be something Post Malone that I would potentially pick up if it's available, obviously.
Yeah. There are 17,000 copies of it.
I saw that.
So, like, he's the ambassador. They're pushing this hard.
Yeah.
I could see this one being something everybody wants to pick up. This is one I'm super interested on.
Yeah, I'm interested on it. Like, most of his material, I'm not a huge fan of or anything, but this one I would definitely pick up if they have it. I don't know if I'll get there early enough to get it, but...
And I like Nirvana enough that I think I'd get a lot of enjoyment out of this.
Yeah.
Next is just one of the Harry Potter soundtracks. It seems like they have every single Harry Potter movie soundtrack up there.
Which is really cool. Like, we have a lot of soundtracks. Not a lot. I shouldn't say that. We have a handful of soundtracks from movies that we like, or like we have like the Lost soundtrack and stuff like that. So it would be really cool sometime to collect all these. However, with Record Store Day budget, these probably are not going to make the list right now.
I don't think they'll make the list. It's something to pick up later on. I would be fine with picking up one. I'm not a big fan of collecting all 7 of these.
Oh, I think it'd be cool.
Because to me, the music will change slightly, but not that much. You'll have like the John Williams stuff early on, and then your composer, who's like in the middle there with like the Prisoner of Azkaban. That twists the tune just a little bit. So I'd pick up maybe those 2, but getting all 7 of them, maybe not. At that point, you're collecting, so get the entire collection.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. It's not collecting them just to like listen to them all the way through, which we probably would, but it's more to get the whole set. Like,
if they had a box set that came out, that would be a lot of fun.
I'm sure that they will at some point.
Maybe,
especially with like the HBO series coming out and stuff.
That's true. I didn't think about that. Yeah, because then you have to get the HBO series, one for every season of that show.
Yeah, like I think it's Harry Potter. I mean, Harry Potter's always been a big thing, but they're reviving it again with the HBO series. So
yeah. Moving on. Next on the list is Carcass. I was not expecting to see Carcass on a Record Store Day, so that was super excited to see. This one will be close to the top of my list as well.
Yeah, I see there's only 1,000, but the likelihood of people at our store wanting a Carcass album.
Yeah, there might be 1 or 2 metalheads that would want the Carcass album for sure.
But they would probably go to like Belmont or Logan Square.
Yeah. So. Another one at $1,000 is, or 1,000 copies is Terrorizer. Another one that'd be kind of cool to pick up. Another one I was like, oh shit, I did not expect that.
Yeah.
Also, Deicide is up there. 2,000 copies of this though, so I don't know a whole lot of Deicide stuff, but the album cover is super cool with this like dead body and whatnot.
Have we ever seen them?
I don't know if we have seen them or not.
It's like we need to get a list together of all the bands and then like alphabetize them, so it's so easy just to be like yes instead of going through instead of going through all the years of what we've seen and what we haven't seen.
That's true. We do go through like
I feel like we have
the spreadsheet.
Yeah, like add a show somewhere.
I'd be kind of shocked we didn't, but at the same time, I would also not be shocked if we.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those bands that's always announced at some point, but it's like, did we actually go to a show?
Yeah. I feel like they'd be at like Decibel or Milwaukee Metal Fest or something like that is where I think I would have seen them.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I don't think we went to, we haven't been to like their show.
Yeah.
Either that or it's like they were an opener. But I don't even think that they were an opener, but it could have been like a festival or something.
This next one is Scott Ian. I looked into this one just a little bit. This is like a soundtrack to a pinball machine.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, so this seems like a lot of fucking fun.
Oh, that sounds even better. Like, I know right away when we were going through the list the first time, I was like, oh, Scott Ian, like, you should put that on the list. And I think it bypassed you at first.
It did, yeah.
But I didn't know it was a soundtrack to a pinball. But it does say that right there. But that's really cool.
Yeah. And typically, I don't read like the description of the albums. I just see the album or the artist, like, oh shit, I want that, and I just throw it onto the list.
They have Metalocalypse.
So that was who he worked with.
Oh, who he worked with. Okay.
Yep.
Well, that'd be kind of cool though.
Brandon Small of Metalocalypse Death Clock to like sort of build up this music for this pinball machine.
Yeah.
And Chicago is like the capital of pinball machines.
Oh shit,
like
really?
One of the biggest manufacturers of pinball is like out in the suburbs here, so it's got definitely like a tie to Chicago as well, which is really cool.
I didn't know that about Chicago.
Yeah. Next on the list is yet another Rage Against the Machine live album. This was live on tour 1993. I think this may have been like their first recorded show or something. I can't remember. Like the description talks about it. We have a live album for Rage Against the Machine. They had one on Black Friday last year, 2024, I believe. It was at the Democratic National Convention they played, I think.
Oh,
or they
is
played
that the one we
outside
have?
of it. No, that's not the one. We have live in Mexico City.
Oh, okay. I didn't know why you were bringing up the...
No, but I'm just saying, like, they always seem to have a live album.
Yeah.
We got one, we don't need to get another one type thing.
Yeah.
Next is Sun O. I got my first Sun O album last Black Friday at Record Store Day as well. That was my favorite album on there. So I was super excited to see this on here. I looked at the description a little bit of this as well. Apparently this was recorded as part of a art installation, I think in Europe or in like the UK or something, where they let fans in to watch it, and there's like just a blank stage with a completely set up stage, and they played their music in a different room and like played the music into that room with fans with like nothing on stage except for like white. And then after the performance, the band left the stage, let the fans into the next stage, which was all black, except the exact same thing, but with like a black coffin instead of a white coffin on the stage.
Interesting.
Really kind of a fun, unique sort of art installation with also like the musical performance aspect of it. So I want to know more about this particular show. But this album of that show would be really cool, I think.
That would be really interesting to have those two contrasts of the white and black coffin on a stage, and like that's all you see.
Yep.
And then you hear the music. So like I wonder if the feeling would be different.
I think that's what the whole thing was. That they were trying to generate a feeling around the music plus the art installation. Just seeing the stage with the white coffin, then it's over and you go into the next room and it's the exact same stage but a black coffin.
Yeah, because like a lot of people think like light and dark or whatever. So interesting.
So I want to know more about that. I want to get the album. I want to listen to the album and then do a lot more research once we get that.
It'd be really interesting if the two rooms they played the exact same music.
Well, I think one room they played it, the other room they didn't play. So they were in the one room, the black room, playing it to the people in the white room.
No, I understood that.
Okay, and then when they went into the black room, they were just done. They just leave. That was the end of the concert.
Oh, there was no music?
No music, nothing.
Okay.
It was sort of like exit through the gift shop, but it's exit through the identical stage.
I see. I was thinking it was more like two stages and they played the music, and that's why I was saying like the feeling would be different. Like if it was white and black. Okay.
But really cool. That's definitely on my list. That will end up being on the list as well. Next is Tom Waits. I do like Tom Waits. I'm not like a super big fan of his. This is a 7-inch. Something to look at possibly picking up, but this one will probably get cut for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Tom Waits.
Yeah, I don't think you'd like it.
No, probably not.
Next, this one is also on my list. Roger Waters' The Dark Side of the Moon. A live recording of him playing The Dark Side of the Moon. I think this was just a couple of years ago he played this in its entirety, the Dark Side of the Moon album. I have him doing The Wall, I think it is. The Wall live in Berlin.
Oh, okay.
Which is really kind of cool because it was as the Berlin Wall went down, he played us the whole Wall album there in Berlin on the Berlin Wall. Really cool sort of aesthetics and whatnot there. I love Dark Side of the Moon. It took me so fucking long to get into this album. When I first got it back in high school, I listened to it and was like, this is fucking trash. I don't like this. And then the more I listened to it, the more I was like, not the more. Later on, giving it like 10 years after I got a little bit older, after college and whatnot, I gave it another shot. And I was like, holy shit, this is fucking good. So I'm super excited for this. Just a couple left here. I don't know much about this. 7 Doors of Death. Mitch and Ira Yuspeth. I just think the name's really cool and the album's really cool with like the zombie.
Yeah, it's a soundtrack of 7 Doors of Death.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So that must be a movie.
Yeah. So that's on the list just because of the album cover. Sometimes that will happen.
Yeah. There's not very many of those though. So
No. Next one, just as we were going through the list, was the first one that jumped out, A Day to Remember, because it was alphabetical. This won't make the final list, but I was like, oh shit, that's kind of cool. I've heard of them.
Yeah, we've seen them before. I do see that it's Attack of the Killer B-sides, so it could be kind of like one of those unreleased songs.
Oh, that would be cool too, especially if you're a big fan.
Yeah, if you're a big fan. We saw them at their acoustic set with Wage War during their acoustic set.
Yeah.
Not a huge fan.
Yeah.
Like, it's not bad. It's just not, I don't seek it out.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this one will probably not make the final cut.
No.
Same with this, unfortunately. Black Sabbath, The Eternal Idol. I don't think this is one we'll pick up. We can pick it up later on, down the road. But we'll pick up maybe not this version, but a different version of it. Nothing to like just go out there and like, oh my God, I have to have this as part of Record Store Day. I can pick this up later type thing.
Unfortunately, budget comes in.
Exactly. So. Yep. But it might be on the list at like the very bottom. We'll see how that final thing shakes up.
It would be really cool someday to be like, just pick a band and be like, okay, I want to buy every album of that band.
Yeah.
And then like go on to the next one and be like, okay, let's seek out every album of that band.
And to some bands we have almost done that.
Yeah.
Metallica is, if we haven't done all of Metallica, we're super close. Slipknot definitely.
Disturbed, we're close.
Disturbed, I think we have, but if not, very close.
I think we have one.
Oh, we're missing one.
Yeah.
Avatar, we just don't have their early shit. But everything after, like, when they've started to get really, really big and sort of change their sound a little bit and be more of the Carney sort of look.
Yeah. Not as heavy.
Anywho, different conversation. Moving on to our last one, though, for the list. Chevelle, point number 1. Again, this was just early on the list when we were going through, so I threw it up there as like, oh, I've heard of them. I somewhat like them. Not a super big Chevelle fan. I was going through Reddit after the list was announced and people were talking about this. I think this is the first time this is on vinyl.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not going to pick it up. I'm not a big fan. There's bigger Chevelle fans out there who would love to have this in their collection. So I'm going to pass it up.
Yeah, if we find this like at a record store sometime, like we've done that before where we just go to a random record store in a random city and we see something, maybe pick it up then. But yeah, I agree. Like let the fans get it. And then if we find it, we'll pick it up. So.
Yeah, exactly. So, really cool that Chevelle's on there. I don't think I've ever seen Chevelle on the list in the past. So really cool to see they're on there. But yeah, it's something we'll pass up and hopefully somebody can pick one up for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, that's everything that jumped out to us. I've gone through this list several times, and every time I go through, I find something new that's like, holy shit, I want to get that. I want to take a look at that. So there's probably a lot more shit that I missed. Definitely like the compilations with all the various artists. I don't know much about those until I start diving into them or I hear somebody say something. Yeah.
You got to like actually read the descriptions of those, so it takes a little bit longer.
Or I know what it is. A lot of them are like soundtracks to movies and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, not necessarily a whole lot on there for me in that range until I start looking. So those haven't jumped out just yet. But the list might grow a little bit. It might shrink. Definitely missed a few things. Well, it's definitely going to shrink. So.
Oh, yeah. No, it's going to, like, we'll pick up, like, 3 or 4 things.
Yeah.
Like, that's how it always is like, we have 25 items, and then we actually buy, like, 4.
Yeah, this will get cut down right after this. We'll start ticking off tabs and whatnot and say, we don't need that. Start ordering things. And then, like, the night before, we'll go through and it's like, all right, here's actually what we want. Let's cut this off. Let's cut this based on budget at the time and whatnot. So,
exactly.
Yeah, that's the list. Can't wait for April 12th this year to pick some of these up, hopefully. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
I'll let you know what I can find at our store.
In any case, we're going to go out and buy some music at some point in time, and hopefully you will too. Just if you don't buy it, at least explore music, find some new music, and yeah, whatnot. We'll catch you.
Yep. Bye.